What's up guys, welcome back here. Today I'm back with another video, and that coach video has been a stinker, so if you haven't watched it, go check it out right now. It's my most recent one. And now I'm going to do potential number one pick trades that other teams could offer Minnesota that could benefit hopefully both teams. But if you like the video, don't forget to drop a like, comment down below any new video ideas you want me to do. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Fell down to 49, trying to hit 100 by the end of the year if possible. But now let's get started. The first trade I'm going to have is with the New Orleans Pelicans, and the trade would be James Johnson, Jake Layman, and pick number 1 going over to New Orleans in exchange for Drew Holiday and pick 13. Now Drew Holiday is an absolute lockdown defender who had a pretty good year, but still is able to hopefully be an all-star. And his defense would be just really nice next to D'Lo, next to Cat. Hopefully, and then you can find a new 4 to fill in that role. Maybe launch Hornets Gomez as that 4. Maybe start Josh Okogie at the 3 to add even more defense. And it just really helps D'Lo and Cat out. And you have Culver as a 6th man, hopefully developing to something. And as for the Pelicans, they're going to have the first pick. And honestly, with that first pick, I see them taking Anthony Edwards to be that Drew Holiday replacer, an absolute bucket getter. And then with the 13th pick, Minnesota could get another gritty defender like Tyrese Maxey. Maybe get a new backup big that they could use inside the backup cat, even though they have Nas Reed. Maybe a new backup big, but the bigs aren't really that good in this draft. So maybe they could get themselves a new backup point guard, maybe a Cole Anthony, a Kyra Lewis Jr. All would be really good choices for them with the 13th pick, moving down 12 spots and getting themselves Drew Holiday. The second trade I'm going to have is with the New York Knicks, and this one, the Knicks really do this just to get the guy they really want to sell tickets. And they're trading Frank Ntilikina, Isnas Pristakis, pick 8, the 2021 Clippers swap pick, and the 2021 Charlotte second in exchange for Jake Layman, Jacob Evans, and the first pick in the draft. With the first pick in the draft, the Knicks would definitely take LaMelo Ball. They would really want LaMelo Ball in New York, selling tickets, getting primetime games, showing off, and could potentially attract a star within the 2021 free agency. Maybe get a Victor Oladipo or some player in his caliber. With Minnesota, they get a lockdown defender, Frank Ntilikina, to hopefully be the backup point guard for D'Angelo Russell. And they can start Okogie at the 2. Isnas Pristakis will probably be another backup wing with Culver probably starting, or Malik Beasley. You'll have Isnas coming off the bench. And then you'll get a lot of pick assets, which includes pick 8, which you could get a really solid player with that pick. Maybe you can get a guy like, who knows, Obi Toppin maybe falls to 8. Onyeka Okongwu is versatile enough to play the 4 since Cat's a shooter. Onyeka's a versatile inside big. He could play the 4 next to Cat. Who really knows? But maybe you could find that right guy at pick 8. And then with extra bench depth and draft capital, I feel like this trade is nice on both sides. The next trade I have is with the Philadelphia 76ers. And that's if they think the Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid duel is not going to work. So Ben Simmons will be going to Minnesota along with Mike Scott in exchange for James Johnson, Jarrett Culver, Jake Layman, the first pick in the draft, and a 2023 first round pick. And with the first pick, the Sixers would probably take LaMelo Ball, even though he's a streaky shooter. He can definitely shoot it better than Ben Simmons, that's pretty obvious. And he's willing to add amazing playmaking. Even though he's kind of sus on defense, you're going to have an elite young defender in Matisse Thybulle next to him, which will make up for it. Tobias Harris, Josh Richardson, hopefully they thrive. And the duo between LaMelo and Joel Embiid would be scary. But the trio of D'Lo, Ben Simmons, and Karl Anthony Towns, and then you still got guys like Malik Beasley and Josh Okogie, that would be a really nice sign for Minnesota and could definitely help them push to be a playoff team and potentially even a conference final type team. The fourth trade I have is with the Charlotte Hornets, and that's if the Charlotte Hornets are really desperate for a young star that they think with number 3 they want to secure the young star that they really want at number 1. So they would be trading number 3 along with PJ Washington to Minnesota, and in exchange to receive pick 1 along with Nas Reed and Jalen Noel. Nas Reed, a young big who really has an all-around game but hasn't really untapped to it yet, could develop to it. Jalen Noel, just a young shooting guard, only 21 years old, could develop as more extra depth for Charlotte. And with the first pick, honestly, you could see him go for a James Wiseman to replace a Cody Zeller, but you could low-key see him going for Denny if you don't believe in Miles Bridges. But I think they'll still try and go for a guy like Melo or Anthony Edwards, even though you already have Terry Rozier and Devontae Graham. I feel like Terry Rozier would be on the block so they can go for a rebuild, and then they need that backcourt partner next to Devontae Graham, and you don't know if Malik Monk can really be that. So hopefully LaMelo or Anthony Edwards could be that. But I would not be surprised if they go big and take like a Denny at number 1, as Miles Bridges has been an athletic freak, but Denny has an amazing all-around game and a streaky shooter, not the most athleticism, but decent enough, has a smart IQ for the game, playing against tough opponents, just the grittiness he already has as a proven competitor would be really nice for Charlotte to have. And then with Minnesota, you're still getting the third pick where you could get a solid guy, where hope maybe they don't even take Denny and they take like a LaMelo or Anthony Edwards. Maybe you get Denny at number 3 to play that 3 spot with PJ Washington at the 4. You'll have D'Lo and Okogie, and then you'll have Cat with Malik Beasley and Jarrett Culver beasting it off the bench. That would be so nice for the Minnesota squad. You don't even know, bro. The number 1 pick, they're so happy they got this pick because it's helping them so much to potentially get really good assets. But I got one more trade up my sleeve. Okay, 2 more trades. And the first trade is with the Sacramento Kings. Sacramento Kings, nobody here wants out. They really want to make a big splash to get the value that they think Buddy Hield could be worth if he didn't request a trade. And maybe Minnesota needs a great budding partner next to D'Angelo Russell. That guy could be Buddy Hield. As he plus Rashawn Holmes in the 12th pick will be going to Minnesota in exchange for James Johnson, Jake Layman, and the first overall pick. With the first overall pick, the Kings would probably take Anthony Edwards that they could pair next to, De'Aaron Fox. Hopefully, Anthony Edwards can untap that defensive potential, become more of a really good shooting wing. His athleticism with De'Aaron Fox in the back would be deadly. James Johnson would just be a veteran for Jake Layman, another shooter. And then with Minnesota, you get a shooter and Buddy Hield to pair next to D'Lo. And then you get a new backup big in Rashawn Holmes who could really play his role as the backup really well. And with the 12th pick, you hope you can get Patrick Williams to start at the power forward position, in my opinion. Versatile defense to pair next to Cat would be really useful since the lineup will lack defense, which is why I think they should get Williams at 12 and then start Okogie, and you can still have Culver and Beasley off the bench like usual. Could become hopefully a really good bench duo in the league. And the last deal is probably the least likely to happen. I don't even know why I added so many players, but I decided to do Bradley Beal. Let's say he wanted out of Washington. It's unlikely since John Wall's coming back, he wanted to test it out. Let's say John Wall was been looking great in the offseason and he wants out. Bradley Beal could come to Minnesota, along with Maurice Wagner and Jerome Robinson in exchange for James Johnson, Jacob Evans, Jared Vanderbilt, Jarrett Culver, the number 1 pick in the draft, a 2022 second, and a 2024 first. Jarrett Culver is the guy the Wizards are really going to bank on with his high potential. And then with the first pick, since you already have John Wall, you would really probably draft Anthony Edwards to be that Bradley Beal replacement. You bank on his athleticism next to John Wall's, and the high upside of Jarrett Culver with Rui Hachimura. You still got Thomas Bryant. A great young core next to John Wall can still low-key be a playoff team. You're adding extra depth in James Johnson and young talent in Jacob Evans and Jared Vanderbilt to develop as good young role players. As for the Timberwolves, they get a shooter in Jerome Robinson to pair next to a scorer Malik Beasley and a lockdown defender in Josh Okogie, who honestly will probably be starting in this lineup. So you get a shooter in Jerome Robinson next to a scorer Malik Beasley, a new backup big and Maurice Wagner to back up Karl-Anthony Towns and Bradley Beal to play that shooting guard spot. The problem is who would be starting at the 4 for Minnesota, which would be the problem. I guess Juan Hernangomez could start at that position, but I don't know if a playoff team would really want Juan Hernangomez as the starting power forward, but who really knows? maybe you can make it work because you have Bradley Beal, D'Lo, and Cat as an amazing offensive threat. I would only do this move though if you can find a way to sign some really good defenders in free agency, maybe a Chris Dunn. Maybe if you can somehow snag Jeremy Grant, convince him to sign on a cheap deal, that would be really nice. Unlikely, but who knows? Minnesota can make some things happen with this first pick. But what do you guys think they should trade for the first pick? Or who do you think Minnesota should just draft, period? Comment down below your ideas. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Peace out, guys.